Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you're feeling well. Today, I am having girl things. And when I say girl things, I have the worst period pains. And the only way to make myself feel somewhat better is having a hot water bottle on me. So that is what I'm doing right now. It's quite nice actually because it's winter. I feel like a hot water bottle in winter just feels right, doesn't it? So sorry to all the males listening, you can't relate to that, but I'm sure many of you lovely females out there probably are like, yeah, I'm with you. It's really not fun. Like, when all I want to do is just like lay in my bed, but obviously I can't do that. So I'm just sat here like trying to get on with life. I honestly think it's wild that we as human beings have to go through this. Us females have to go through this. Why? It is so annoying having a period. Like, it's actually so annoying. And you're just like, oh, here we go again. Here's another week of this. Oh, it's just not it. It's just not it. But you know what I am going to do today? I'm going to fake that I'm fine. Because that's all I can do. I mean, I'm feeling fine. Like, I am fine. Like, let's not act like I'm about to die, because I'm not. I'm fine. But, like, we're gonna fake it till we make it kind of vibes. And that is what we're going to talk about today. I thought, now that Jan is over and we are into a new month, and I feel like we can start to see a little bit of spring coming our way. I say little bit because it's still winter, but I feel like we're feeling the vibes a little bit more. Valentine's Day is coming up. There's a little bit more things happening, so I want to talk about something that's a bit more positive, or just give you a bit of a motivational boost, if you will, to get you feeling excited for the rest of the year. And that is this idea of faking it till you make it. Now, the reason why I like this saying and why I think you should do this is because I think it's something that I have lived kind of my life with for a while. When I decided that I really wanted to make social media my job, or like have the potential of doing that, I really just kind of kept going with it, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing this, I'm good at this, like it's gonna happen. And I do think that was partially down to like a lot of the drive I have to like get myself going and get myself into things, but also at the same time, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't just like going for it and acting like I could definitely get it. If you act like you aren't good at something, if you act like you don't have something, then you kind of don't feel like you're almost saying to the universe, you don't think you're worthy of it, or you don't think you believe that you can get it. And I think that whatever desire you have, whatever dream you have, whatever job you want to get, you should hopefully get there, but you've got to believe that you can get there. And faking it till you make it is something that you can apply to so many different areas of your life, whether that's like your career, or finding confidence, or I don't know, going into a new area of life. Like, there's always somewhere that you will probably be able to apply fake it till you make it. To put it into context and to make you kind of, for one really good reason, and an example that has had me fake it till you make it for most of my life, is confidence and anxiety. I've briefly mentioned in previous episodes about my social anxiety and how I have suffered with it since I was really little. I couldn't tell you an actual age, but like, the definitive moment was when I went to secondary school the first day. And anyone else out there who has social anxiety will understand that feeling of like, it gets to a point where you've had enough of it and you don't know what to do to get rid of that social anxiety. I got to the point where I was like, I don't want to be this person anymore. I don't want to be shy. I don't want to be sad. I don't want to be like not confident. I want to be this confident girl that can talk to anyone, and I just didn't know how to. And I had enough of being socially anxious. And this actually happened probably when I was at secondary school, towards the end of secondary school. So when I was about 16, I really, really found it difficult to branch away from the friendships that I had. And, you know, at school, when you meet people in the first year, you have those people in your life for 5 years. Everyone knows you, everyone's made their judgment of you, everyone knows what they think of you, and no one really changes their minds. You also have, like, you know, bullying going on. You have people like just saying shit they don't mean, and kids like are really learning about life, because at those ages and those years, you learn so much about just like how to treat someone, what's right and what's wrong to say, how to handle things. And I think that in those years it's hard to kind of move away from what you're known as. So for instance, if someone thinks you're really nerdy and you're sad and you're boring, and that's like something that it's like a narrative that's been put through your whole school life, then it's really hard to then escape that, or move to a different friendship group, or get to know someone else, because it's like a preconceived thought. Is that the right word? I don't know. It's like a thought that everyone's having. Everyone's kind of now got that in their mind about you. So then kind of getting away from that is unbelievably difficult. And that happened to me. I was luckily enough not bullied at school. I'm very grateful that I wasn't. I was picked on, but I wouldn't say I was bullied. And I got the comment constantly, "Oh, you're so quiet. Oh, Charlotte," I was known for being quiet. Charlotte's so quiet. Why are you so quiet all the time? It was one of the most asked questions, I think, is, why are you so quiet? I don't know why I'm so quiet. I can't figure it out. Do you know what I mean? And it all got quite a lot for me, actually. I found it quite intense, to the point where I was like, why am I quiet? And like I said, I'm someone who like really, really, really wanted to get out of this. Like, it was like I was trapped and I couldn't get through. My best example of how I would describe my social anxiety is that, so I'm feeling anxious and there's someone I know right in front of me, and I want to tell them something, but I can't. And it's like there's a wall in between me and that person, and I can't get through the wall. And the wall is so high up and stuck, and it's like it's a really tough wall to get through, and I'm bashing it and I can't get through. And trying to explain to someone why you can't tell them something, or why you can't have that conversation, or why you're nervous about it, is really, really hard. And you know, social anxiety is a huge thing, and I could talk about it all day, but that's not actually why we're here today. But it's a big thing. And when I got to the point where I was like, right, okay, I don't want to be this anymore, I decided that it was a slow process, but I took measures into my own hands. So when I went to college, luckily my sixth form was at a different place. It wasn't at my school. So everyone, pretty much most people that went to this college were people I didn't know. I mean, there was obviously a good chunk of people I knew from school, but like for the most part, it were people that I went to that I didn't know. So then you'd go into classes and I wouldn't know anyone, and that was almost like throwing me in the deep end. So I'd have to say hello. Don't get me wrong, I probably said the wrong thing, or said it really nervously, or didn't seem very, like, people probably thought I was a bit weird, but I was like, right, I've got to do this. I've got to force myself to talk. And I did become friends with some people from school that I kind of knew, and we kind of got on, but we weren't like close friends in college, which was good. I think that really did help as well, because I was then kind of seen as like not this shy, quiet girl, even though I absolutely still was. I still was very shy at this point, very quiet, very socially anxious, very nervous about things, but it was like one step ahead. And then when I left college, before I went to uni, I went and worked in Sainsbury's as a checkout girl. That also boosted my confidence, because I had to be forced to speak. I had to speak to people. I couldn't sit in silence when I was like checking people's food through and like tell them how much it is. I had to speak. So those things really, really helped. But ever since then, it's been a pure fake it till you make it situation, where I have just acted as best I can, as confident as I can, to kind of get away from that. Now, I'm not saying that it's really easy to get away from social anxiety and to become confident. It's not. It's been a constant process. If I would say that I became a confident person that can live more or less, mostly, without social anxiety in 2023. And I'm 28 and I'm about to be 29. It's taken me most of my life to get to that point. And I haven't spoken to a therapist about it or anything like that. It's just work I've done on myself. And it's something I can talk about at some point. I'm sure I will. But it's really, really interesting how you can be this anxious person and then at some point you learn to deal with everything and you just kind of, you get to a point with life where you know how to handle it. Now, I'm not saying that, this is something everyone could do, because I know it's not. I know people go through lots of different types of anxiety and struggle with things. And I struggle with anxiety that's not socially based as well. And that can be quite tough. But the fake it till you make it is almost like living with these things. Like, there are plenty of things that I probably do that are like set in my brain that are linked to social anxiety that I just do, and they're just part of normal life now, and no one would really know, but I would know. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but there probably is something. But like, when you fake it till you make it, when you just act confident as you can, it honestly really, really helps. And I've definitely been through many a situation, especially in this job when I've gone to events and stuff like that, where I have felt unbelievably anxious, or even going on a date, I'm anxious, I'm scared. But you just got to act okay. You just got to act like it's all fine. And I think that that's quite a skill in itself, to act like everything's okay and you can handle it. I think a lot of people do that. It's like a front, right? You put this like front on, and you're like, you are not getting into this real version of me. You can just have the fake it till you make it version. But fake it till you make it, as I said before, is something you can apply to so many areas of your life. And I think with confidence, it's definitely something you can fake until you make, because I wouldn't say I've been this confident my whole life. And when I went to uni, I was like, I think the alcohol helped. Going on nights out and stuff really helped give me the confidence, but it almost like made me realize that, you can do these things. You are able to do these things. It's almost like my mind had just let me believe that, I was just going to be shy forever and I was never going to speak to anyone ever again. And I think at school, I really struggled with having friends that were interested in similar things to me. All of my friends were interested in other things. I had one friend at school who we got on really well. We were both interested in clothes, but we weren't like, she wasn't really like fully exactly my type of person. And it sounds weird because I think at school, a lot of people have school friends, right? A lot of people get on with their friends and they always have similarities. But where my social anxiety sat me in types of people that I was friends with, I wasn't their type of person, and they weren't my type of people. We got on, I had great friendships throughout those years, but those weren't my type of people. So I majorly struggled. I did feel also quite alone when they were listening to their like Bring Me the Horizon and those kind of bands. I don't know what you'd call them, like heavy metal. Is that the right? Oh my god, I don't know. But I started listening to that kind of music so I could feel like I was part of them. And I would read anime books, which is wild at the thought of me reading anime now. I used to get my dad to like take me to Borders. Do you remember Borders? Anyone remember Borders? And get me new manga books. So I could feel like I was a part of it. It's really strange, isn't it? What you do to feel a part of something. But anyway, so when I went to uni and I started meeting people that actually really had an interest in fashion, quite the same, like exactly the way I did, I was like, oh my god, what? Like, this is cool. And I think that actually really helped boost my confidence, because I was like, people actually think like me, people are like me, people do have similarities, like there are people out there. And I think like when you're at school, you're in like a classroom full of like all sorts of people, so it's really hard to kind of understand like how you could necessarily find your like people that you get on with. Obviously some people do, but yeah, it's wild. So the confidence definitely grew throughout uni, and then it's just been a kind of growth process since then, in terms of confidence, in terms of faking till you make it. And I think my best example of faking it till you make it that's not related to confidence, and that's my job. And I love my job so much. I am very, very grateful to be doing a job that I love, and I feel very like confident in the job. Like I feel like it's the perfect job for me. I think that, you know, I've worked in social media for a company. I've done other jobs, but there was never a job that really stuck out to me, and never a job that I felt like was me. And until I started doing content creation, till I became an influencer, and I love it. I love doing stuff like this. I love sitting here and chatting, and I feel really grateful that there's this opportunity for me to do this. Like if you'd asked me when I was little when I was at school that I'd be sat here creating a podcast and putting on the internet, I'd be like, absolutely not. Like, no, I wouldn't do that. Like, there's no way. And like, here I am just freely chatting about my life, and people are listening to it. It's just wild. And like, I take pictures of myself for social media in the street. I would never have done that before. I think it's just wild how life changes. And with this job, sometimes I don't feel confident in my job. Sometimes I don't feel like I've made it. Sometimes I don't feel like I'm like really, really good at it. Sometimes I feel like I am crap and I'm not getting anywhere. And I feel like, oh, have I lost my mojo? Have I lost it? And then I have these moments where I'm like, absolutely not. You're fucking great. You have to act like you're great, because you are great. There's no reason to hold back that feeling of like being great because of those thoughts that might be telling you, oh, you're not that good. There's a difference, right? You can act confident and act like you're good at what you do without being an absolute dick about it. I know people who think the sun shines out their bum, and those kind of people are not my type of people, because if you think the sun shines out of your bum, then let me just tell you, it probably doesn't. But, you know, there's a difference, right? You have the people that think the sun shines out of their bum and they think they're God's gift, and they're not. And then you have the people that are confident in what they do, but they also can understand that, you know, they've got work to do. They're not the best at everything, and that they are open to learning more and appreciating other people's work and appreciating what other people are doing. And I think that ultimately that is the most important thing. Being aware of you as a person, and also what's around you, and what people ask to see from you. Or like, one thing I think is quite important as someone in social media is understanding that not everyone can afford the life you live. And that for me is a very, very important thing. I would never ever want anyone to sit here and listen to me, see what I post, get inspo from me, and feel like they have to buy expensive things, or that they have to buy these certain things to look good, or feel like I'm making them want to buy expensive things that they can't afford. I'd never want to do that, because I don't think you do need to spend loads of money. It's all about, you know, finding your own style and what works for you, and finding the right things. And it's a very big thing for me. And I actually used to know someone who would always push designer stuff, and I will never be that person. I will never push someone to buy something. I will never constantly bombard some people with links to things to buy things, because at the end of the day, I'm a firm believer in, if you really want to buy something, you'll buy it, regardless of whether I tell you that it's a great jumper or not. So I don't need to sit here and link loads of stuff to make people buy it. If they want to link it, if they want to buy it, and I've linked the outfit, they can go buy it if they want. But there's no like, you know, need for them to buy it. Anyway, I'm really going off on a tangent, but essentially, you know, I sometimes do have to fake the confidence with my job. I have to fake the enjoyment. Sometimes I'm feeling really crap, and sometimes I really don't want to do something. Or maybe I'm at an event and I see someone that, you know, I don't like or I don't feel comfortable around, and you have to act fine. You have to act like it's not causing you anxiety inside. You have to act like there was no issue. And that is quite hard in social situations, especially when, say, something happens with someone, you don't like them, you're not a big fan of them, and you're like, oh God, but you're around people that you do like, and you're not going to outrightly be like, oh, that girl's a bitch, because I just wouldn't do that. But it does then make you feel comfortable if everyone's talking to them and you're like, I don't want to talk to her, I don't like her. How do I deal with this situation? You have to fake it. You have to just be nice. And it's like killing with kindness, right? If you don't like someone, if someone's been a bitch to you, you've just got to kill them with kindness. You've just got to act like everything's fine. You've got to act like everything's good. Even if deep down inside, you feel like absolute dog shit. And you're like, how are you all talking to her? She's horrible. You just smile and wave. You just smile and wave. That's all you do. You just act like everything's fine. Because even though you don't want to be nice to that person and you actually really want them to like piss off, instead you just sit there and you just go, hi, how are you? Yeah, good, thanks. Oh, amazing. How's everything okay at home? Like, is everything going well? Oh, lovely. Yeah. And then once you've had that conversation, you then leave and you think, that was weird. And then you carry on with your day. But I think that those situations, you have to do it. It sounds like what's the word, that it's kind of like, why would you do that? If you don't like someone, why would you talk to them like that? But when you're in a social situation and there's other people around, you're not going to act off of them. You're not going to act weird with them. I'm a civil person, right? If I'm in a situation where there's someone I don't like and, you know, I don't really want to talk to them, I will talk to them and I'll be civil. I'll never be rude. I'm not a rude person. It might feel a little bit frosty potentially, because it's hard to speak to someone that you don't want to speak to, because you're like, hi, yeah, good, thanks, and you're just kind of like, I don't really want to speak to you, so I don't have anything to ask, but I feel like I should speak because we're having a conversation and you're here and you've spoken to me, do you know what I mean? So you're like, well, I better actually like have a conversation and I better actually like chat and say something. It's one of those things I find incredibly difficult, especially down to this is one of the areas where social anxiety really hits me, where I'm in a situation where there's someone I don't really want to speak to. I really don't want to speak to. It makes me feel violently uncomfortable, and I'm there like, I'm gonna have to fake it. So I walk, like, if that person comes over to me, I'm like, hi, how are you? And I'm like, I literally don't know what I'm doing. I'm standing there and I'm just being nice. You just got to be nice. And it takes so much guts and like confidence to do that as well, because like it's happened to a couple of times where I've just felt a little bit like I don't really want to say anything. I feel so uncomfortable, but like I've got to say something. I've got to say hi. It's rude to ignore someone. And you don't even have to have a conversation. You can just be like, hi, you alright? Yeah, good. And then walk along. But just acknowledging them is always like that kill them with kindness kind of vibe, where it's like, oh, she's being nice. Like, what? And then they can say whatever they want to say. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can say whatever you want to say and then leave me to it. But it is like a kind of fake it till you make it situation where you walk in and you're like, I've got to fake that I like this person. I've got to fake that I'm nice towards this person, and I'm just going to act like the nice person I am. It is hard. But faking it till you make it is basically, essentially, just going in there with your confidence and doing what you need to do and just getting on with it. And sometimes it takes a lot of mental capacity and it takes a lot of your brain to be like, right, I'm going to do this and I'm going to get through this and it's going to be fine. You might be feeling anxious the whole way through, but you're doing it, and that is the main thing. Sometimes all it is just about pushing yourself to do that one thing that you're kind of a bit nervous about, you're kind of a bit scared about, but you're going to do it, and you're going to walk into that room and you're going to go to that interview and you're going to feel confident and you're going to feel like you've got this. If you walk into that room and you're acting all timid and shy and quiet, there's no confidence there. You've got to walk into that room with confidence. It's like if you're meeting someone at a bar or a pub or something like that, and they're sat down somewhere. You've got to walk into that pub, bar, whatever. You've got to walk in, strong, head up, phone in your pocket, looking around for them, confidence. Don't look at your phone when you walk into a restaurant when you're looking for someone. It isn't it, because you look like shy. If you're looking, especially if you're meeting a date, you've got to walk in and you've got to use your eyeballs and you've got to look around, and when you clock them, you're fine. Sometimes it does take a little bit of awkward walking around. I used to hate the awkward walk around the restaurant to find someone. Oh no, it would actually create deep anxiety within me, because like the thought of walking in there and feeling like you're on your own or they weren't there was terrifying to me. Nowadays I don't mind it so much, because I'm like, at the end of the day, like they'll be there somewhere, and you know, it just shows I'm looking for someone. Or if you go to a restaurant and you're like, oh, I'm meeting someone under the name blah blah blah, then they'll be like, oh, it's just over there. They'll take you to the table, which is great. Or if you get there first, they'll take you to the table. But if you're just meeting a friend, it can be really difficult, especially when you're meeting a date, because especially if you don't really know fully what they look like you know what they look like, but you don't know what they look like. You're like, oh my God, what if he doesn't look like what he looks like? And then I'm walking in like, and I went on a date recently, and I was like, oh my God, I don't even know how big this bar is. What if I walk in and I can't find him? And I walked in and I was like, right. I was like looking at where is there a single man sat on himself? Oh my God, sat by himself. And then I found him pretty straight away. But you know, it can be daunting. You just don't know, especially if you go somewhere you don't know and you're like, what if he's not here? What if I can't find him? What if I don't know what he looks like, or he's wearing something that I don't recognize, and it's weird. It is really weird. But you just got to fake it till you make it. And I think fake it till you make it is a really good way of going through life, especially if you're nervous about something, if you're worried about something, or if you feel like you're not good enough. Fake it. Just put your confidence pants on and walk into that thing that you're doing with confidence and poise, and you will get where you need to be. I think that confidence, like I said before, there's two sides of it. There's being overly confident, and then there's being just confident. And if you can get through the things you want to get through, and you do what you need to do, you know, that's all you need to do. Faking it till you make it is great. Like I honestly, like, I will act interested in someone's life even though I'm probably not. Like, sometimes you go to events, or you're talking to someone, or you meet someone like a mum or an auntie or something like that, and they're talking to you about things, and you're kind of like, I have no interest in this conversation, but I will entertain it. I will sit here and I'll listen, and I'll act so interested. And that sounds like I'm being rude, but I'm not being rude. I think that it's better to be like that than to be sat there like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Like, no, like, if someone's talking to you about something they're interested in, you just got to roll with it. You got to be like, wow, yeah, amazing. Like when my cousin's little girl talks to me about things, and I'm just like, yeah, that sounds amazing. I love that. Wow, what's your favorite color? You're asking random questions because you're just trying to like have a conversation. It's those kind of things. I love those kind of things. It's actually quite funny. My uncle sometimes will talk to me about things, like it would be like football, and I know nothing about football, or it will just be like something really random because he's like such a man, and like I'm such a girl, and it's just really funny, you know. It's just like we're just talking about really random stuff that suits him, because he has no idea what he can talk to us about. So it's just quite nice. But you just act interested. I think that's the key, isn't it? It's like acting interested in someone else's life, and it is just like that kindness, like killing with kindness. Fake it till you make it. Faking it till you make it is more like you will get there, you can get to that point. But I guess like it does fit into those moments where you're talking to people and you don't really have much to say, but you just act interested in their lives. I think that is the key thing here. Always act interested in someone's life, even if you find it really boring, because it shows that you're caring, and then you're interested and you want to know about them. Because sometimes people do have boring lives and they're not interesting to you, but it will mean a lot more to that other person to know that you're taking the time to be like, oh, so what is your favorite thing about football, or favorite thing about golf. I don't know anything about those things, but I'll ask questions anyway. Do you know what I mean? I'm always here to ask the questions. I feel like if you're ever stuck, this is my one bit of advice for you. If you're ever stuck when it comes to having a conversation, the best thing to do is just ask people questions about themselves. So whether that's what their job is, what their hobbies are, where they live, where they come from, favorite place to go on holiday, anything, just ask people questions about themselves. And they can be like the easiest questions, like what's your favorite movie, or what food do you like the most, stuff like that, because that way they'll just talk about you. And then talk about themselves, and then if the conversation is good, they might ask you back, what's your favorite movie? And then it kind of helps the conversation. But always, if you're ever stuck, just ask questions about that other person, because the other person, people love to talk about themselves, they really do. And it just means that you can easily have conversation and talk about random things. And then hopefully the conversation leads to discussing things and chatting about things and feeling more comfortable. But it is a very good way of doing it, just asking people questions. I find sometimes, like, if I'm in a conversation and someone's asking me a lot of questions, I'm like, shit, I've not asked them any questions. And then I'm like, what do I need to ask him a question? What do I ask him? It can be hard though when your mind goes blank and you're like, what do I talk about? But it could be anything. Like, if you're sat with someone and you're having a drink, like, you could be like, I love coffee. What's your favorite coffee? Or the weather today. The weather's a good one as well. Anyway, I've gone off. Oh my God, I've gone off on a tangent. But I really just wanted to chat about it today because I feel like I'm really, really proud of myself for where I've got to over the years, social anxiety wise, but also confidence wise. And I feel like sometimes it is just a case of putting those like down feelings to a side and just kind of cracking on. And it is hard. Like today, I've got these period pains and it's uncomfortable. I can't even lie to you. I feel really uncomfortable. I don't feel like my usual self. But you kind of sometimes push those things to the side and you just carry on, right? And you just keep going. And there have been times when I've been feeling so crap, or I'm just feeling really tired. I go to an event. Hi, bing, I'm awake. And you're like, how did I just do that? You just have to, don't you? Just fake it. And then when you leave, then you can feel a little bit more sluggish and be like, oh, okay, let's get on with this. Because like I went through a real patch of bad anxiety in 2022, like really bad. And I can't remember any of the positive things that happened in that time because the anxiety was like constant. But I must have gone to events and things like that, met up with people and acted so fine. But deep down I wasn't. And I think a lot of people do that regardless, right? It's sometimes just a bit of a coping mechanism. But I also think that, you know, you've got to act that a certain type of way in certain situations. And if you are starting a new venture, if you're starting something and you don't feel like you're that good at it, or you're just kind of getting into it, you've just got to act like you're really, really good. And you've just got to act like this is your job. I say this a lot. If you're starting a hobby, if you're starting a new venture, if you're starting a new career path, a side hustle, you've got to act like you're really good at it and you're going to make money from it and you're already doing it as a job. Because once you start acting like you have it, you're more likely then to be successful from it. And that is what we like to see. We want success from our side hustles and we want to feel like we are going to get somewhere with it. And you absolutely will, but you've just got to act like you deserve it and you're worthy of it, which you are. So that is how you fake it till you make it. In a nutshell, in a long nutshell, a few nutshells. Oh, honestly, sometimes I feel like I come on here and I just chat and I think, is this interesting? I don't know, but we're chatting anyway. We love a chat. I love to talk. It's actually like mind-boggling when I think about the fact that I would sit through like a whole day of school barely talking to anyone. Anyway, I hope you found this long voice note interesting. And I hope it's just been a nice distraction or like a little bit of something to listen to, whatever you're doing today. Whether you're on a walk, on the way back from work, on the way to work, cleaning your flat, whatever you're doing. I hope that you're having a nice day. And remember, you've still got time to fake it till you make it. You've still got time to be that confident person and be the best you. And yeah, I love you all. Make sure you follow the Instagram and the podcast TikTok, which is still at Still Got Time Podcast. And please do give the podcast a 5-star rating. I will love you forever for that. Okay, I'm going to leave you now. Love you all, and I will see you next week. Bye!